Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Entrepreneurial Lunch and Learn offered by the Lawrence N. Field Center for Entrepreneurship at Baruch College. I am Gary Smalls, the program coordinator of the Field Center. The Field Center for Entrepreneurship is a multifaceted division at Baruch College, offering free services and programs for the entrepreneurial community. Today's Lunch and Learn webinar is presented today by entrepreneur Marquis Mckenzie Sr. Marquis is the founder of the cleaning company, The Dirt Master, based in Florida. The company's mission is to provide the best residential, commercial, and construction cleaning services in the greater metro area of Orlando. No matter the size of the project, they provide quality cleaning services. You name it, they can do it. In addition to his business, Marquis is the founder and president of Community Outreach Enterprise, a nonprofit organization geared towards teaching entrepreneurship to at-risk youth. Thank you so much for being with us, Marquis. Please feel free to tell our audience a little bit more about you before you start your presentation.
Thank you, Gary. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys today. Definitely excited to have an opportunity. I don't think there's no other conversation that I enjoy being a part of other than talking about entrepreneurship. The reason why, small business in general, we help keep the world thriving. So I'm excited to be here and share my experience as an entrepreneur, the things that I've been through. With that being said, my name is Marquis Mckenzie from Orlando, Florida. I'm 33 years old, and I've been in business for about 8 years now. And again, I'm just excited to be here and be helping share my experience and talk about entrepreneurship and the path and the journey that I'm on to hopefully inspire you guys to continue to stay on that path as entrepreneurs.
Awesome. Yep. So from here, it's your world. You have you could just go with it, tell your story as you see fit, and then we'll fill some questions.
Definitely appreciate it. I'm the owner of the Dirt Master LLC. The Dirt Master is a janitorial, residential, commercial, and construction cleaning company that was founded in 2015. The way that I got into entrepreneurship is very inspiring, and I'll share that a little with you guys. So at the age of 15, I kind of gave up on life, right? I decided to go down my own path, which led me to the path that I am now, not knowing the way that the criminal justice system worked. And in Florida, as a juvenile, if you commit a serious enough crime, they can take you out of the juvenile system and charge you as an adult. And so that would happen to me. At the age of 15, I found myself being charged as an adult and sent to prison for my very first offense. And that's where I actually grew my passion at. And so the time when I was incarcerated inside the local jail, waiting the trial to my sentence, I was the houseman. And for some reason, throughout that time, you can only imagine a juvenile being charged as an adult. I see many other juveniles. Matter of fact, the very first day me being incarcerated at the county jail, I seen a 16-year-old receive a 75-year sentence. The next day, I seen another 16-year-old receive 3 life sentences. So you can only imagine my emotions, my anxiety, and the things that I was going through at the age of 15, waiting to be tried as an adult. And throughout that, I had a job as the houseman. And only thing that I found myself being able to be passionate about was cleaning. And despite of me waiting and facing a 10-year charge sentence, cleanings was something that took my mind off, and still not knowing that it was my passion. And so while I was incarcerated, I decided to take the steps to actually change my life. And I made that comparison when you're cleaning something physical, how it makes you feel. And so I started to change my life, and it started to make me feel good. So I just cleaned on to cleaning. Still not knowing that's the path that I was going to go. I ended up going to prison. I received a youth offender plea, which in the state of Florida is a sentence that cannot go beyond 6 years. So I received a 2-year sentence to the Department of Corrections and 4 years on supervised probation. Some crazy, however God works, right? He allowed me to, again, I went to 3 different jobs when I got to the Department of Corrections. First, I was in the kitchen. Then I was in outside grounds. And then the last job I had me in the laundry. And for some reason, none of those jobs fit for me. And I found myself being pushed to be back towards the houseman. And so I was at a gladiator camp, is what they call it here in Florida. And that's a camp where you have nothing but youth offenders who may have life sentence, who may have 30 years, 20 years, anything above, just 2 years in prison. And you will have a lot of riots, you have a lot of fights. and just so much violence on the camp that they decided to take away all of our rights. And they told us that we couldn't have canteen, we couldn't go to visitations, we couldn't go to rec. We was on 24-hour lockdown. In the midst of them taking our rights, they came back and said, only way that you guys are able to earn some of these rights back, you guys had to basically see who had the cleanest dorm. And again, I was the houseman. And so the first month they came around all the wardens, all the staff, and they do white glove checks. And we found out that my dorm won first place. I was all right, that ain't that bad. And so it began, they had to do it for about 6 months. And every month after that, for 6 months, my dorm won in first place because I was the houseman. And there, when I realized that, I have a gift for cleaning, and I was like, if I'm doing it for free in here, that might as well be something where I come back home and do. And so I drew up a plan when I was in jail to the very minimum. I read a few books, didn't really too much know about business, but I just knew I wanted to start a cleaning business. One of my hurdles when I came back home is, in the state of Florida, if you have a felony conviction, if you don't have that family support, you're pretty much left alone. And so reality hit me. And I also was facing a lot of depression because I was coming home the same year that I was supposed to graduate from school. So I was like, a lot of my peers are going to look at me as a menace. They're walking the stage and I'm actually walking out of prison gates. But nevertheless, I applied myself to society. I tried to go to school. I went to college for maybe 2.5 years. And then I also found myself back bouncing around for jobs and jobs because a lot of doors was closing to me. I have a job, and they'll turn around and say your background came back. And it wasn't long enough before a friend of a family worked at KLC, gave me an opportunity, and I was in the kitchen. And so the whole time there, I was cooking, and one of the jobs as the cook, you had to maintain the cleanliness of the kitchen. And so I took it upon myself to, knowing that someday I wanted to start a cleaning business, let me get the experience and just clean the whole store. So I started to learn how to clean the restaurant. And then it got to a point where because of my skills I learned from cleaning and cooking, I became one of the top cooks for KLC in Florida. But I wasn't able to be advanced because of my background. I ended up winning one of the largest competitions at KLC. I was supposed to be on the commercials, and I was looking to get promoted to a general manager, but I couldn't get that general manager position because I had a felony conviction on my background. And so that caused me to go again to another stage of depression. And I was like, you know what? If I keep getting all these doors closed in my face, I might as well just go back to what I said I was going to do and start a business. And so I was very scared at first to start a cleaning business, for one, because people just always tell me if you got a felony conviction, you couldn't start a business. Until I took it upon myself to do my own research. And when I actually filled out the application, to fill out the application and start a business, that was one of the first applications in my life that I came across that didn't ask me about my background, didn't ask me was I ever convicted of a felony conviction. And so I found some type of hope in just filling out the application that, hey, this could be a success opportunity for me. So I started a business in 2015 alongside with my spouse. And we started very small, just going around cleaning people homes. And from there, a lot of people started to see what I do. And then a lot of people started referring me to commercial spaces. And then I started getting into the construction space. And for it, that pushed us to here where we're at now. Just really growing the business. And in 2018, we started a re-entry apprenticeship, a part of the business. And so what I wanted to do, and one of the morals and characters that I wanted to build, and one of the principles that I wanted to have for the business, is that we gave second chances to people that was coming out of incarceration. And we wanted to give them the opportunity to see how it is to change their life, how to, to incorporate that cleaning into something physical and into something personal. And so we've been very big on second chances. When we have large events, we go back to the local shelters, get guys and women who were formerly incarcerated, bring them to the company, and just teach them cleaning skills and give them those opportunities. And I can say that we came across a lot of success, major contracts within the city of Orlando, major contracts with large orthopedic office, and just been working on a lot of things. But I think today, the most important, what I want to share with you guys as an entrepreneur, of course, I can give you all of my success. I can talk about all the things that I earned since I've been a business owner, even things that I lost, right? But I think the biggest thing for me today, and I thought about it, it's like, what can I share with them, right? And a lot of people may speak and they motivate, but sometimes if you don't have that drive in yourself, that motivation speaking just go through one ear and not the other. But if I can leave something with you guys today, it was definitely, and it's something that I'm learning myself as a business owner and just as an individual. When being an entrepreneur, I think one of the very first things that you guys should always do, right, is set boundaries, right? Set boundaries on your personal life and set boundaries on your business life. And that can help you balance out a lot of things. Me, right, I never knew what the word boundary was. The last time I heard the word boundary is probably when I was in high school years ago, right? And we was talking about the equator and the boundary lines, but I didn't know about setting those boundaries personally for myself and limits. And me not having boundaries, I can tell you that it cost me to have to restart my business over 2 or 3 times just because I didn't know the difference between, relationships, and then personal and then keeping stuff on a business level. And I just had everything just personal to me where I just allowed people just to come in, things just to happen and just like, oh, it's okay. And to the point like it drove my business all the way to the ground. And so that's what I really want to share with you guys and inspire you guys to whatever it is in life. And when you want to be an entrepreneur, if you're still on that path to be an entrepreneur, if you haven't already done so, create those boundary lines where in the thin line you are able to run a successful business and then also be able to maintain your mental health, right? And also your physical health, because without those boundaries, again, it can cost you to have a thriving business to a business that's completely failing, and then also can make you want to not be a part of entrepreneurship. I can honestly say that entrepreneurship has been one of the most freedoms, a path that I've came in, having the freedom to be able to leave, come and go, but most important, being able to give those opportunities to people who may not see them themselves. The second thing that I will leave with you guys as an entrepreneur, or one advice that I can share with you guys, everyone that's in the same, let me see, lane, same field, it's not an enemy to you, right? Find someone who is in that same lane that's willing to give you that information, willing to share that knowledge, right? Everyone who offers the same service as you should not be look at it as competition, right? And if you find yourself trying to compete against everyone, I can promise you, it doesn't cause anything but conflict, and it leaves you feeling like, well, they don't support me, they support popularity over of quality, right? I've heard a lot of those things, and I think one of the ways to come across that is realizing that anyone in your same field is not always competitive, right? I have business owners who have their cleaning business for 30 years, right? Who I always go to for advice, right? And once someone sees that you're genuine and you're willing to follow, they don't have a problem mentoring you, right? And then the third thing I will always say is that the success of your business, right? A lot of people spend money on marketing. A lot of people spend money on just trying to scale their business to the next level. But the biggest way that you're going to be able to scale your business over marketing and over spending dollars that you make in place other places is building real solid relationships, right? It's very true in the business world, in any just world, right? But particularly in the business world, it's not about what you know, it's who you know. Being able to have relationships when people know that your business is credible, people know that you're trustworthy, they're most likely ready to refer your business out. And I can say 90% of my business comes from referrals and people being able to trust me and have those relationships. So those three things that I really want to leave you guys about. I don't want to talk too much, but I like to interact. So I would love to answer any questions that you guys put in the chat or anything that I can answer. And again, like I feel like even on a different level, like I'm open to sharing my contact information to talk more about business with you guys, or even the successes or even things that I lost. But mostly it's just I feel the important in my time with you guys is talk about those boundaries, how to build those relationships, and ways that you can really success and grow your business. So I'm here for any questions and interact. I really didn't want to talk all day to you guys. I actually want to hear what you guys want to know and ways that I can answer questions or best support your journey as an entrepreneur.
Marquis, thank you, man. I knew it was gonna be on point, man. I knew it was. I appreciate you, man. So for everybody who doesn't know, the chat is open for any additional questions, and you can use the Q&A function as well to place any questions that you may have. My first question that I have for you is, you mentioned, and I heard you mention it multiple times, and you talked about these moments in times where you were um, embraced difficulty, meaning like you were making some traction and then something happened. So I'm thinking about the KFC situation where you're like, man, I'm finally making some traction. I'm home now, things are going well, and your past keeps coming back to, and it's kind of stopping you from hindering. And you use the word depression multiple times. And I would ask, what are some things that you've learned over the years to help you manage the difficulties and the inevitable challenges of life?
Yeah, I think for me, Portland, and I was raised in a family, you know what I'm saying, a Christian home, you know what I'm saying, where we had you having a good relationship with God, right? And whatever, people individual higher power is, right? First being able to, you know what I'm saying, know who your higher power is and just trust and believe and standing on a lot of those principles. It was able to guide me, right? You know what I'm saying? Being able not to respond to anger, being able to respond to wrath. And it's situations, man, I can tell you that could have cost me possibly to go back, right? Even for instance, I've gave opportunity to people coming out of the doors, allowing to work in one of my office, and they end up stealing out of the office, right? But it's because of the relationship I had with my client. My client knew that it wasn't nothing of me, right? It's possibly because of the people that we was trying to help and those opportunities. But most important, it was about me having that faith and me being grounded with myself and knowing who I am, and knowing that at any given moment, stuff like this could happen as an entrepreneur, right? And so how do you respond to that, right? It's almost go back to elementary. You think before you know what I'm saying, you act. And so
Right.
being able to keep it that simple, like think before I act, is the way that I kept myself balanced through like each tragedy and just not trying to look at it. And most important, man, coming from where I came from, how I look at things, that if I can act or react in a way where it's not going to cost me my life or my freedom, then I'm cool. And if I can't think or react like that way, then I need to wait before I actually react. And so that's how I kind of ground myself with these different moments.
I love that, man. Working in mentoring, working with young adults in the city for a number of years, um, helping, especially young men, helping young men to respond, not react, right? Because we are human beings. We got full emotions. We're happy, we sad, we get frustrated, we get angry, right? So at the end of the day, we're real people. But how do you manage those emotions so that you don't make long-term decisions in the short term that's going to affect you in the long term, right? And I love how you were able to see that and realize that, because someone's stealing out of office and you building relations, that could be problematic, you
Yeah.
know. For your livelihood, for the business, personal, your reputation. So that can go a different way, but you were able to manage those emotions and handle it accordingly, man. So I appreciate that answer. The next question we got, they coming in, man. Next question you have: what are some of the ways your partner supported you through this whole process? That's a great answer.
So yeah, I think one of the ways that she supported me on my process is just with time management. She was more good on, she have a past experience with like managing, and a lot of that stuff is new to me, like, what I'm saying. So some stuff she'll be like, you need to micromanage and I won't, right? Or even just, a lot of people see me as a good hearted person, so people would get over me a lot versus she's the person that's kind of firm. So certain stuff I would delegate to her to deal with people, and told us like, hey, it's not out of my decision. So like delegating tasks and dealing with people, she was able to help me with that. And then also because I still have a full-time job, where I work with Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. We're the group that passed Amendment 4 that restored voting rights to 1.4 million Floridians in the state of Florida that had felony convictions. So in the day, it'd be stuff that I can't possibly do that she can pick up for me. So that having that time management, being able to order supplies and making sure that we got things. And then I think one of the biggest pieces that she helps me with, and as an entrepreneur, I think you guys should all have someone that can do quality control for your business. So, she would reach out to, current blenders, clients on a monthly basis. She would go take donuts or pizza to their office. Hey, we just stopping in to check on your business. You'll be you'll find it rare that business owners try to have that relationship. And that's one of the things that you should do, have an open line of communication. So having her on the, while I'm working in the daytime, to be able to still keep that line of communication and make sure that I have the supplies and things that we need to run a business. And most important, deal with people when I can't deal, because I'm too nice. So having someone in place to deal with people when you're nice.
Teamwork make the dream work, right? Teamwork definitely make the dream work. And we talk a lot about in our programs, whether it's pitch prep, CUNY startups, we have different programs where we encourage and we actually force students to collaborate in our programming. We rarely want students to go into programming as uh, a lone wolf, because we know through entrepreneurship and we know through all the businesses that scale, you don't scale in isolation. So collaboration and recognizing somebody who has the strengths that you don't have is such an important thing. You're fortunate that partner is actually your life partner on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, and it could, and it also within that, like, it could be, trials and errors because sometimes it can be conflict, right? And not how to bring the business back at home. And one of the things that, we talked about is like business is business. When we off business, we home is home, right? And so being able to have that transparent conversation was like, if it's work, we got mad at each other at work. When we come at the house, that shouldn't reflect what's going on in the house. So being able to have those conversations and just being transparent with each other just helps a lot. And just because sometimes, I've seen where business can cause relationships to fail, right? If you don't have that balance, like, hey, this is don't have nothing to do with our personal life. This is business. How can we get over that and being able to talk? So it's just all about being fair as well. Because at some point she feel like, hey, you're bossing me around. It's like, no, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So it just becomes a conflict of interest at times, but you should be able to balance it out if you want to have a successful business.
For sure. And that goes back to what you said about boundaries earlier, right? Personal boundaries, business boundaries, and knowing the difference. Cause you can easily, as an entrepreneur, get caught up. It could be all business all the time because your business never really stops because you go to sleep or you want to be with the family, unless you're intentional about like, I'm shutting it down at this time, right? So definitely understand and definitely see that, and why, and I know why you mentioned boundaries. There's another question in here. This is a good one. So with all the number of cleaning companies out there, cleaning services out there, how did you differentiate yourself to attract new clients? That's a good question.
Yeah, I think with me, I and so whatever, so I always encourage people when they start a business about something that you're passionate about, right? And I think that was one, right? You'll see a lot of people that, especially the cleaning industry is a $68 billion industry from the last time I checked, just from this year alone. And of course, it continues to grow because of all of this COVID stuff and people just extra about cleaners. But one of the things that people seen that I was passionate about my service, right? And I wasn't here just to make money, right? And then the second way that I was able to, what I'm saying, be able to grow my cleaning base over a lot of other cleaning companies within the Central Florida area is I wasn't ashamed to share my story. I got more clients knowing that I was a former incarcerated person versus me trying to hide it. Like hide it, right? I had so many people come to me and say, "Man, you shouldn't be like openly saying that. You shouldn't be openly saying that you hire people that got felony convictions." And I struggled with that for a year. Like I paid people to try to help me with messaging, and I struggled with that. And I was like, you know what? I'm wasting my money to hide something that God had me to go through, right? And that people would really probably appreciate it. And I found a lot of my clients, what I'm saying, I got a son, I got a family member, I got a husband, my spouse was formerly incarcerated. You motivated me, and to know that I'm giving you this second chance, meaning that I'm supporting my spouse, right? Or supporting somebody in my family. So my story alone has opened more doors for me than me just not like it's opening. So I would encourage people, one, get into a business or something that you got a passion about and that you can tie a story to, because people love stories and they love to help things to grow, and they see that you're a part of it. They know that you're doing it for a reason. When they found that I was inside of prison and I was cleaning dorms for free, like that opened a lot of people's eyes. And not only that, when they can go back and fact check it, like, oh, this guy was in prison, like, he trying to come out here and do something better for himself. Versus if I would just go out there and say, "Hey, I started a cleaning business," and left it like that, I would have been looked at as the same normal cleaning company that's not sharing their story. So I beat people to the punch. I put my story out there. I didn't try to hide it, and I tied it into what I was trying to do. And then not only that, I had a mission tied to it where I want to hire people coming out of the system. Not only that, right? I found unique ways to give back through the business, right? Every month, I would clean a disabled veteran or citizen home for free if they didn't have no one cleaning up their home. So I found ways to market the business without even costing myself, too much of a hassle, but being able to give back. And so when people see my story and they see me giving back at the same time, it made them more wanting to pour into the business and help us get to the next level.
Man, yo, so good, man. So good. And I think that message is so powerful because many of our participants on today's call are students. And one thing I noticed from working with our students on a regular basis through our programs is that sometimes students either are afraid to tell their story, or they're learning if it's safe to tell it, meaning that if people truly knew me for who they were, would they like me? Would they want to patronize my business? And to hear you say, like, I'm authentic, I'm telling my true story, and it actually helped me. I know that has helped someone listen to that because someone right now maybe trying to be something that they see in media or see on the cover of a magazine and think that's who they need to be, and it's totally the opposite of who they are, and they may be missing out on opportunity because they're not being authentic.
Yep, and I tell you, man, I can like sometimes it brings tears in my eyes just to know that where I've been and where I'm at now, right? And one of the things I appreciate you when you gave us like Marquise, we want you to be authentic, right? Even this one you asked me, you got any slides to show? I mean, you guys can Google my name and see all of the stuff that comes up about me, about my business, me being featured on CNBC with Millennium Money's like. That video alone is almost at 600,000 views. I get so many calls that I could have got over here and like, oh, let's talk about the glamorous stuff. Like, nah, I think that I forget that stuff because I feel like that's not enough, and I want to do more. But again, I can't stress how much it is having those relationships and people seeing that you're authentic. Like, and I just be transparent. I went to prison for an armed robbery, a robbery of firearm. If I get stopped by the police today, my name still come up as a violent offender. No matter what I've done for the community, no matter how much I've succeeded, they still see me as a violent offender, right? They've been calling me the mayor of Orlando now for the last 6 years, right? And people asking me, you need to run for the mayor of Orlando. But what the point that I'm trying to make is that if you have a great relationship and if you can be trustworthy, people are willing to give you the opportunity. I cleaned 2 banks, right? 2 banks, going into the banks alone with myself. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nothing but God working. That's just being anointed, having favor, being on that, being having good character. People can see that and they trust you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have 10 sets of keys that I go into and these people know who I am. They know my background. They trust me into their office and into their banks and establishment. Like, it just blows my mind to know, like, I'm cleaning the bank. I can't even get a job at a bank, but I'm cleaning the bank, right?
Right,
So
right.
it just shows like if you are authentic, you have those relationships and you build that trustworthy. Like, people don't even ask me about my background. They don't. They just say, hey, we want to hire your company because we know the service that you provide. Such and such said that you're a great company and we want to give you an opportunity. So it's like you can't hide that story. The quickest you can put it behind you, many other people can put it behind themselves as well.
Wow. Wow. I know that's hitting somebody right now. I'm telling you. And then when we put this up on our YouTube page, I know somebody gonna be blessed by that again. So I appreciate you sharing that. This is a very good question, and it's something that's actually near and dear to my heart. Considering young adults and teens who come from hard backgrounds and areas that have high levels of crime, what would you wish the general public and politicians would understand about what they face?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I would want them to face, and we see it a lot. We struggle with it when it come down to changing certain things for certain population. If you're going to change certain things, in particular for youth, you got to get the youth involved into what those changes look like, right? We go back and forth on a political span front. The older population, like the younger generation, don't want to vote. They don't want to do this, right? Well, what is the message that you're giving them to the vote, right? Are you allowing them to come to the table and talk about why they don't vote, right? Instead of making these decisions. And so we see it a lot, right? With lawmakers on the local level, politicians, they make decisions for youth or they cut these budgets and put all of these resources to areas where it may not be beneficial to the youth. The youth may not want to see that, or because they don't like it and the youth like it, it's a conflict. And so we have to bring the youth to the table. We have to bring them to the table when we start to have the conversation about them and not when the stuff is happening or when it's already made and then giving them a little discretion or a little bit of power to be able to change things. Like, no, bring them in early on, let them be a part of these planning stages. Let's hear from them why they're having these issues, what they see in the community, and not like we overthinking and don't bring them in. And we bring them in too late. And so that's again one of the conflicts and one of the things I see. If you want someone to change or if you want a situation to change, you got to be able to address and bring everybody to the table when you're talking about the problems very early on and not when decisions are already being made.
And you know that's so pertinent because Baruch is a CUNY school, which means we have in New York City majority of the students that's going to attend Baruch, a college like Baruch in the CUNY system, is going to be from one of the 5 boroughs in New York City. And depending on where you are in those 5 boroughs, you might identify with some of those challenges. As a Baruch alumni, I identify with those challenges and how difficult it was to not only get to college, but to stay in college and then to graduate because of not just what was happening internally in school, but what was happening externally when I had to go home, right? And I think one of the goals as professionals and as adults, the older people in the room, right, is to give students an opportunity to be heard. I think a lot of times we talk to them and we don't talk with them. And we miss out on a lot of opportunities to serve them better because we don't talk with them, we talk to them.
Yep.
So I appreciate that, bringing people to the table, getting everybody involved in the process. It's also a connected question to that is, going through this process and knowing and wanting to bring along and to give opportunity, second chances to people who may have had, mistakes in the past. How do you differentiate between people who you like, they sincerely want to change their life and really want to have a new start, and those who like they're not really there yet and they may be problematic for you in the business? How do you separate, or how do you differentiate? How do you know?
Yeah, so with that, man, one again, I thank God for just, I had to ask God for discernment. Very strong with discernment, and just to give something that God gave me. And I think as an entrepreneur, everyone should be praying for discernment, right? And then not only that, when you're dealing with the population of people that was formerly incarcerated and been formerly incarcerated yourself, if somebody faking it, if they serious or not. And then not only that, when it come down to work, right? People who are faking, they ain't gonna come to work, right? They know there ain't nothing that they don't want to be involved in. That particular population, they gonna say, man, I really just go out, go back and sell drugs. I may do something. But people that really want to work, you can give them small tasks. You know what I'm saying? You can say, well, if you want to work, this supporting, I'm saying, send me a paragraph, or what I'm saying, me helping you, how would that help yourself, right? And you look at some of the responses that people have, or just within me having a 10-minute conversation, I can know if someone is right. And then also you just got to make, like, one of the things you have to look at is how you're setting them up for success, right? So for instance, people that's coming out of the system, I know that, their time is valuable. Like, it's like a treadmill that's already moving. When you come out of prison, you got to be able to hit that ground and go to running. If not, you're going to fall. And so anytime that I'm dealing with people that's coming out of prison, one of the things I try to do is, if I have a job assignment for them, I try to pay them the same day, because I know how beneficial that money could be for them. And me just paying them the same day and not making them 2 weeks or a week in a hole, that builds a different type of relationship. And it works for me because they know they're getting paid the same day. They work the best, right? And so I said, all right, I'm gonna do this a little different. I may run my company like a label pool. You come to work, you get paid that same day. Because guess what? They're gonna show up the next day and they're gonna show up on time. They're gonna do everything. Because not only that, it's when I pull up to the coalition, it's hundreds of guys out there that want to work. And so if they can know that they can build a trust factor with you and they can get paid the same day, they're going to be on time. And so I set them up for success as well, where it could benefit both of us. So showing that I don't just need you, but, we need each other. And once they see that, like, they open up a little different. And so, and then the coalition itself, because I built a good relationship with it, I'm helping their clients, they try to only send me people who they know that's going to be serious. If not, it's like, no, you ain't going to waste this man's time, because he giving y'all jobs where he don't have to as well. So it's just about building those relationships. And once I share my story with them, it's like, man, I've been in prison myself. It opens up a whole different total respect for them, and they treat me different, and they treat the company as is theirs as well too. So having some type of ownership where they can see it is good.
That's awesome. And that's so on point, because we talk a lot about team building and leadership. And that's a leadership skill, to be able to put people in position to be great and in a position to succeed. Because sometimes we have people who, they're not just necessarily lazy or disengaged. It maybe they might not be in the right position, right? They might not be doing the thing that gives them, we're not always, as business owners, always going to be able to do the things we like to do. Sometimes we have to do the more mundane things, right? But if you team, I think it would be behoove you to put in position on team to board. Putting people in the right position is how you get success. And to hear that you are mindful about that, I think that's going to be very helpful for somebody who's putting a team together right now, or maybe going into a leadership position and they might be having some struggles.
Yeah, and it's, and a lot of that I found that, I read a book that was called Fred Factor, right? And it's just basically like character, having character, being able to identify, you know what I'm saying, and not casting someone out because of their weakness. How can I put them in their place and where they're stressed at? So it's all about you as the owner of the company, is having character and being able to discern stuff, and then just being able to be a little bit of compassion about it, right? Just, you know, one of my favorite shows, I don't even watch TV, but if I do watch TV, I'm gonna look at Undercover Boss, right? And I look at how they, you know what I'm saying, being able to identify, oh, this person go above and beyond, right? This person may be, you know, struggling with something. How can I pour into that person's life? So me showing that I'm more interested in like your personal life as a leader than you just working with me. Because and the reason why, you know, when people they call me boss, I said, don't call me boss, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm an employee just like you. I'm working with you. You're not working for me. You working with me. And when I speak to them like that, it just shows them and give them like the human, treats them as a human. I don't like humanize no one, because again, it takes without my team, I can't do nothing, right? These contracts going to continue to come in. I want people to be able to kind of work every day and say, what, I'm happy to be here. I want to be here. And if everyone is on your team is not doing that, then that's a problem. And then that sometimes when I identify someone having a bad day, I just say, hey man, it may not be a good day for you to come to work today because everybody got good energy, right? We don't want that toxic stuff around it. We want to be able to pour that. So being able to hold people accountable right then and there, it makes them kind of like kind of check themselves, like give them a break. I mean, just take a break, go walk off. It's not, you know what I'm saying? So I try to make sure I treat everyone as a human as myself, because those tables do turn. And when they turn, you want to make sure that you're on the right end of the table, even though it's turning.
That's huge. And what you're talking about reminds me of a theory concept that I've been reading up on called authentic leadership. And authentic leadership, one of the components in the theory, it talks about how critical life events in the leader's life helps you to become more compassionate, depending on, it could be, you know, critical life events can be positive or negative, but those critical life events can sometimes be the change that the leader needs to be able to relate to his people in a real way. And I sense that from, you know, just this conversation and then reading up on you and watching all the video. You know, I watched all the videos, man. And you know that is that you're trying to take a different approach to leadership and business ownership that I don't always see out that's being celebrated, right? Because we as a culture sometimes celebrate the push hard, the drive hard, the I don't sleep, I sleep when I'm dead kind of, that's being kind of pushed in culture. And I think only now we're starting to kind of rethink how we treat ourselves and how we treat people. And I'm glad you shared that, man.
Yep, definitely, man. That character is the number way where you're gonna be able to build your business, how you treat your team and how you treat people and how you treat yourself. If not, you know, you don't have an issue. You know what I'm saying? I want my company to be able to run 50 years from now, right? When I see business that's been in business that many long, like what you're gonna get there is the culture and that foundation which you build that business on. You're like, you know, I'm looking to become a corporation where I franchise out the clean and built model to people that was formerly incarcerated, right? So they can build their self up, so they can build a family. And if you wasn't formerly incarcerated, I'm sorry, I won't be able to open up the franchise to you, but I really want to build that formerly incarcerated individual up to show people in the world that there are people who made a mistake, right? And the difference between us and someone is up that we got caught and other people didn't. That's the only thing that's different with us, you know what I'm saying? And so, but to show them that because they got caught, that you don't have to treat them right, and they have dignity, and you can really trust them to build themselves up and being able to pour back into the community. And so that's what the culture and brand that we're trying to build.
Somebody put in the chat, masterclass level information. Somebody put that in the chat. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that, but I appreciate them saying that because that's confirmation, right? I think for the last couple of years, I've been asked to be able to hold a master, like hold a class, and like someone told me that Marquis, you shouldn't start this class for no less than $7,500, and I was like, that's crazy, man. These people trying to start a business. I can't hit them across there, but they was like, no, because of your experience and the stuff that you've been through. Like I'm certified with the city and the county in Orlando. Know how to bid on contracts, warrant contracts. I have a track record, but before me as a person, before I allow someone to pay me, I want to make sure that I can offer them something that they can see as very valuable. And so I'm struggling with what that class looked like and when I want to actually offer it. But that just gave me confirmation because I was just speaking with someone the other day, and I was like, you know, I think I'm ready for the class. I just want a little more, like a little more support, and that seeing that in the chat definitely helped me with that. Like that's confirmation I need to be going that route.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this transcript right here. So just in case I'm gonna email it to you, like, just in case you like, man, I ain't start that master class. I'm just gonna email you this chat with the date on it, right? So you got it. And it's I have to definitely say that, this is what we aspire to do with our Lunch and Learn, is to bring in entrepreneurs who are authentic, who are going to tell their stories in a real way. We are a business school, so we're gonna get a lot of exposure to a lot of the popular and famous entrepreneurs and CEOs. But what we hope to do is give our students and community at large an opportunity that there's entrepreneurs that sit right next to you on the train, on the bus, in your neighborhood, who are doing it at a high level, who can be of service to you in your entrepreneurial journey. And they're a lot more accessible than some of the people that we are being shown or you admire. Nothing wrong with those people. They've done major things and big things, but the resource and the reach for information and guidance is not as far as you think it is.
Yep. And that's why,
Right.
man, I was mindful about what I want to share with you guys today, because I've been in the rooms with other entrepreneurs and they hit the stage and they share all of their success and they get all these people happy and people buy into their products, and they don't really take the people through the fundamental of just being able to keep your mental health, because this is a journey being an entrepreneur. Right? I can sell you the success and all the good things and show you all of that stuff, but if I'm not transparent and really showing you what's going on behind the scenes and how to be able to balance all that stuff out, I think I'm setting you up for failure. And so that's why, I love any opportunity I get to be able to be transparent and not be so dark. When I go into spaces, I'm very particular not to wear a suit and overdress myself. I want people to feel comfortable. Like, he just like us. I may come in there with some tennis shoes. I want them to not be intimidated by me, but being able to be welcome and to come into my space and be able to learn. And then not only that, man, I always open up my door. If anyone is serious about learning as an entrepreneur, I'm willing to give them my time. Like, what I'm saying? Let's talk about what are some challenges I can help you with. Because again, you in this process, you don't want to have some, like, be intimidated by people, and then that can cost you a lot of time. That can cost you even financial resources, because people can get to you, and then next thing you know, you pouring into something where you didn't even need that help and support to. So just having that discernment and being able to be transparent with people, and be very leery of, and maybe I struggle with this, but I'm leery of always boasting about my success. If that's the first time I meet with someone and they just want to keep talking about their success to me, it seems like they're trying to sell me something that I don't need to buy. So I'm very leery about uplifting my success.
That's definitely we are aligned on that. I'm always kind of leery about that, and I think I share this story with some of my students. Networking events in the beginning kind of were weird for me because I myself come from humble beginnings, and there's a level of authenticity to persons that I admire and respect. So similar to you, when somebody just come in leaning with the accolades, I'm a little like, all right. Yeah, but like, what are you selling? And like, but who outside of what you accomplish, who are you? And I think that's a great message for our students as well, Marquis, that our students are striving hard. Baruch students work really hard to get their degree and get their job and get to the money. And they really want to do these things. And our goal here through the Field Center is to encourage students to not lose their character on this journey. We don't want any of our students to lose their character on this journey of success. They can be successful and still maintain their character. And this is why, how we program and how we put things together, even the guest speakers that we choose to bring in, there's a lot of successful people we can reach out to, but we want people who can connect and relate to our students outside of success. Talk about who you are character wise and how you struggle, but how you maintain it, right? That's just as important to us as the accolades. And I think your story has been one of those stories that has really been in alignment with what we're trying to do at the Field Center, man. So I got the last question, unless anybody throws another one. There's one more question in here. And this question says that how do you stay on the right track and be disciplined in regards to continuing to develop your business? Second part to the question is, as someone who wants to develop a business, one of my challenges is staying on track.
Yeah, man, I think it's gonna be about that discipline and really like some reality self check, right? And so what I mean by that, right? I'll tell you one of the biggest things. I think my business is supposed to be, I'm supposed to be with a franchise in New York by now, right? But one of the things that I struggle with, and I just be trans with you for years, right? I had a gambling addiction. right? Real bad. And so one of the ways that I was able to get on track is that I completely had to shut that off, right? And for like 3 years, I went without gambling and I seen a big difference in my life. So identifying what is it that's costing you to get off track and just being real disciplined, like, you know what, I can no longer do that, right? And you have to have that real self-discipline. You got to hold yourself accountable. And then not only that, you know what I'm saying, put somebody around you that could hold you accountable. If anybody that's around you, they just kind of agree with you, like, oh, that's all right, you messed up, you could do it again. No, you need to have somebody that may cuss you out, somebody that may put you in your place, and that make you feel unease. Put somebody around you that can hold you accountable, that can help you if you're really serious. If not, you're gonna continue to go through that cycle. Like, man, I'm trying to get it together. I'm trying to get it together. Because the difference is you either can or you can't, right? And you just think about all the possibilities that you can have if you could do that, right? And it opens up so many doors. And so that's how I stay on track. I was really hard on myself, and you have to really do it. And it's gonna sometimes it's gonna be hurtful. But then when I looked at everything that I lost when it came down to gambling, and I was like, man, I'm really hurting myself. And I'll be transparent to you. Like, me gambling and just going through so much stuff, it drove me to depression where I almost want to commit suicide. And so if that whatever is costing you got you feeling like that you're unease or you don't want to move on for it, that's something that it's a confirmation that you need to cut it out of your life. And again, it may be hard, but I can tell you the benefit and the reward for actually cutting that off to keep you on track is going to be one of the best decisions that you had. And you got to also ask yourself, this situation that I'm trying to stay on track for, is do I really want it bad enough? You know what I'm saying? If you really want it bad enough, as far as being able to live, then you want it bad enough that you can get rid of it and it can help you stay on track.
That's a great way to end. We're gonna pin it right there, Marquis. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for spending your time. Thank you for presenting. Um, thank you for you guys for participating with us as well. Please look out for a follow-up email with today's recording. We hope to see you at the next Lunch and Learn on November 18th, same time on Zoom. It's going to be entitled From Immigrant to Ice Cream, a story of a sweet American dream. See you guys then. Bye-bye.